Okay, before I start my PowerPoint, I'm going to show a website that I will talk about later on in my presentation, which everybody can hear me, right?
We can hear you, but we don't see anything yet.
Yeah, I haven't started screen sharing just yet. Let me do that right quick. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you this website, and then I'll mention it later on in my presentation. So, okay, so I'll mention this later on in my presentation. So this is OpenDNS, which I'll mention later in my presentation, and I'll come back to it. Okay, slideshow from beginning. So I did mine on the network security for Lake Point Counseling Services. So what is network security? It is any activities designed to protect the usability and integrity of the network. There is both hardware and software technologies that, for example, there's like applications that block stuff from coming into your computer, like firewalls and stuff, which I'll talk about on a later slide. And then there's hardware software hardware like your switches and stuff that will block incoming connections too. So then it manages access to the network. So network security, how is it important? Good networking security helps protect business from theft, data loss, and sabotage. So for example, if somebody was able to like get into the network, they could try to get some information from people, or they could corrupt some of the data, or just mess up some stuff, or cause like damage to some systems or something. And then some tips for your home network. And so this is from PC Magazine. So PC Magazine offers some simple steps you can take to make sure your home network is secure. So change your router admin username and password. Don't leave it like admin for an admin, or user and password, or whatever it is for your default. Change the network name too, because most of the routers is easy to, like, you can find out what brand of router it is. Like if it's a Belkin router, it'll probably be like Belkin.B51 or something like that. Or if it's Netgear, it'll be like Netgear 33 or something. And if you can, double up on firewalls. Like maybe have like a software firewall on your computer, and then have a firewall set up on your router. And you can turn off guest networks, and be sure to keep your router firmware up to date, which I have custom firmware on one of my routers. So, and I can customize it in more ways than was intended by the manufacturer, which I'm not going to talk about in this presentation. If you want to know more, just contact me and I'll tell you more about it. But so common practices is password protected devices, and don't use default passwords and like I said in the last slide, that most routers probably use like admin for the username and password for the password or something like that. And be sure to have like some kind of firewall or some kind of or a similar internal network control. Be sure you have an antivirus, anti-spyware, or anti-malware software installed, which I have at Vast on my computers, I think. Which I don't know, I don't have them on there right now because I've had to reset my computers and I haven't installed it yet. Or you can use a cloud-based storage such as OneDrive to store some of your files, like some of your important files that you need to keep. Or and then local device storage, like anything that is for on your computer that you want to, or like a flash drive or something, you want to keep it on your flash drive so nobody else can get it. And then network security statistics. Over half of the world's internet traffic is now done on mobile devices. approximately 4,000 ransomware attacks happen every day, and email malware lurks in 1 out of every 131 emails. And how to secure and protect your network. Keep your operating system and antivirus software up to date. On my computer, on my desktop computer, I have the Windows Insider build, so I get insider previews before everybody else. But so like set access controls, like don't allow people to have access to administrator accounts, set up guest accounts, and I did not want to talk to Cortana. Okay, so set up a guest account for like people to use your computer so they don't have access to all your files and everything like that. And then employ hybrid enterprise and public cloud storage. That would be like OneDrive or something like that. Like we use OneDrive here at Tri-County to store a lot of our files. And then have web content filters like OpenDNS. That's the website that I showed you before I started my PowerPoint, which it blocks websites. Like that website I showed you was actually a test website or a phishing site, which if I go back to it, where is it at? Right here. So like it says this site is blocked due to a phishing threat, and it was internetbadguys.com, and it's just a test website. So phishing is a fraudulent attempt to get you to provide personal information under false pretenses, and then it's saying it was blocked by a network administrator, and then there's just some diagnostic info for people that needs it whenever, if they're like for the administrator, if they're doing anything with it. So I have the OpenDNS set up on my home router too, so that would come up on my home router. And then no, I didn't want to do that. Okay, where was I? Right here, from current slide. Okay, so, and then regular backup important data. So this is where a lot of people have things about, I have something to say about this. Those size hard drives that I have listed there is actually the 3 hard drives in my computer at home. So I have a 2 terabyte, a 300 gigabyte, and a 250 gigabyte. And I just checked yesterday, and I know that 2 of them starting to fail. So, and one of them, I just ran a program that told me that one of them is like critically failing. So I need to do something about that. So I'm probably going to take it out of my computer until I can figure out what to do with it, which it is a 2 terabyte one, and all of them's pretty much full of everything. So just try to back up your data if you can. If not, then if you lose it, then good luck trying to get your data back. And then some additional tips: end user training. Be sure to like try to train your users, like to make sure they don't download stuff that could be dangerous or click on links and emails that could be a phishing scam or something like that. And then not give their password away or anything like that. And then password updates. I know Tri-County, I know at Tri-County, I think we have to update our passwords every 180 days, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's how often we have to update our passwords. And then network security assessments, just like regular check your network just to make sure it's running smoothly and stuff like that. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe check your devices, make sure there's nothing on them that shouldn't be on them, or make sure there's nobody that has access to them. Check your logs or whatever. Just make sure you're keeping track of everything that's on it. And then some network security prevents some interrupted business. It prevents interrupted business such as DOS and DDoS attacks, which somebody mentioned in a later presentation that Tri-County was hit over the summer. And I think I was taking a test when that happened or something. I was doing something and it just messed it up, and I had to start all over. So, and data loss, it's like malware, ransomware. It's like if something gets into your network, you get like malware, it can cause damage, and then ransomware, it'll encrypt your files, and you can't get anything back unless you pay the ransom or until somebody creates a decryptor, and then which you may end up losing all your data by then, because most of the time they'll have a time limit, and then they'll start deleting files, or they'll just completely delete all the files at once or something like that. So by the time a decryptor comes out by a publisher or a trusted company, then it might be too late to get your data back. So that's another reason why you should back up, and I want to get a NAS to back up stuff. So, and then fines and legal ramifications. It's like if you try to hack into a network or something, you could get fined for it, and then just overall loss of business, because you can't really do anything if something happens. Like if there's a DDoS attack, you can't really do nothing that's on the internet. Like I was saying before, I was taking either a test or doing one of the lab simulations or something, and I couldn't do it because this internet was down, and I just had to start all over at the beginning. And I think I was almost done, and then I believe that's the end. And I would show you what the website looks like if it wasn't blocked. So see, it's just a demonstration site from OpenDNS. So this is a safe site to go to. It's just see, like as it says, it's only a demonstration site. If you were using OpenDNS, real phishing sites would be blocked. And it's just saying OpenDNS is safer, smarter, and faster. And then it's free to set up at home. You just use their DNS servers. So you just set your device's DNS servers to their DNS servers, which you can just get by looking up OpenDNS. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Yes, Trent, this is Anthony. Hey, I want to ask, you were talking about your hard drives and that you're having problems with them. Without using the software, what were some of the signs that you noticed about your hardware? About your hard drive bad?
I know that they sometimes slow and it crashes sometimes. Like the other day, my computer actually froze up, and I noticed that the hard drive light was just solid on my computer. Like it wasn't blinking or nothing. That's a sign that your hard drive just stopped responding usually.
Okay, thank you.
But I've been monitoring it with, what is it? Crystal Disk Info? Yeah, Crystal Disk Info. They tell me that it has errors. I think it's got like 100 and something reallocated sectors on one of them, or something like that. And then the program I used yesterday said it had an estimated life of 18 days left. So, yeah. Any other questions?
What was that program you used yesterday?
Let me see. Let me try to think. I know I used one on my laptop. It was. Let me look at this. HDD. Okay, so my laptop I use HDD Life, which it told me my hard drive and my laptop I think has like 10 years left. So the one on my computer I think I used HDD Sentinel. Hard disk Sentinel. Yeah, a hard disk Sentinel is what I used. On my computer is what told me how much I have left. Any other questions?
So does anybody know what that last word is that he has highlighted right now and how that works? Portable?
I actually installed
You said
a
portable?
version.
Yes, I said portable. What?
So you can put it on a USB drive and take it anywhere you need to go.
Yes. And they're nice tools to have because you don't have to keep on installing them. And so it has what actually is happening. You're loading rather than dynamic libraries that you go off into a hard drive and actually may have to install into the operating system. You have all that stuff built into the package itself, so it's bigger, bulkier, but it can run independently from an installation process. So portable's a neat thing. Crystal Disk Info is a good program to have on your system to check things out. The failure rate, I'm not sure, some of you guys are in 268, which heard more about it than I think 291, but I had a failure happening first part of the semester, and yes, the system becomes sluggish, and why don't you give me back the screen, please, Trent?
Okay.
And if I can find the right place here.
And I've made portable programs before. Like I've converted like Steam to portable or something, some other stuff. I think Packet Tracer too. But I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic now.
So what was happening is I had a second disk that's no longer in the system, but the disk itself usage, this top bar was just sitting up here at 100%, and the actual transfer rate was effectively 0. And now this is just the task manager, that everyone has on Windows system. And just monitoring the usage versus the data flow will give you a very good indication as to whether or not things are working correctly consistently. But in my case, I was able just to see this 100% up here in terms of activity, and then the very low rate of stuff going through that actually led me to the fact that I need to get that system out of here. But Crystal Disk Info is a good one in terms of checking your health. It gives you the low-level information that most people don't know or see about.
And yeah, my hard drive is normally sitting at 100. You're sometimes sitting at 100%, and then the response is like you said, 0 usually. A lot of times.
Well, you need to get that drive out of there before it goes further south.
Yeah. I've been thinking about buying an SSD or something like that.
If you want to hear a rant and rave, I'll tell you my opinion on SSDs. Any other questions for Trent before we call it quits for the day?